New York session for Friday session on the 30th of May. It's essentially the last trading session of the month. Just going through a recap of what my thoughts were before the session started and essentially what price did for the session. So we came into the open, there'd been a bit of a Trump news and price had a strong sell-off where essentially we left these relative equal highs up here, but we formed an SMT. Formed the SMT with ES divergence, but we did take yesterday's low in terms of price. So we did take the Asia low that had been set during the session. So it was a bit unknown what price wanted to do for this one. I believe I was definitely a bit more bearish considering the 4 hour, how it kind of looked like you had this manipulation earlier and this was the high of the day, or high of the high of the most recent 4 hour candle. Even though there was 4 hour fair value back to kind of rebalance, kind of made sense for PA to continue down. But realistically, when session opened, there was no short setups. So I believe in my last recap on Asia and London, I kind of agreed to myself that I'm only going to really focus on trade entries in higher time frame fair value gaps and higher time frame liquidity, external liquidity levels. So levels on the 4 hour, the hourly, and above, etc., etc. So going into the session, the only thing which was valid for a long, or the only thing that was really valid was long entries, considering that we were trading in daily fair value, and it did make sense possibly to see price at least come up to take these relative equal highs. I had no bearish setups until maybe price repriced higher, took some sort of internal liquidity before we wanted to go down again. So going into the session, there wasn't really much going on. I was more bearish, but considering what was happening here, even though there was a few nice little setups, there was a good 5-minute inverse fair value gap that set up here with a reclaim of the 20 SMA on the 5-minute to try and take these lows, but I kind of made the agreement to myself to not trade these, not for now at least, try and focus on just more high probability setups. Usually those are the ones that are the most successful for me. Anything that's on at least the hourly and above has a bit more significance. So looking in here, the only things you could have really done was gone long because you were considering we're just in daily fair value. That's kind of the only thing that made sense to me. So when we came into 10 a.m. macro, I was watching this, I did have the idea to go long. I wanted to see PA take this clear London low, of course, but didn't get that. We didn't get that, but then we had a really nice inverse fair value gap set up on the 3-minute. Didn't take it. I was a bit too cautious in this one, but it made sense to go long there inside daily fair value. Had a really nice confirmation. In this case here, the draw would have been this hourly high that we created, and price slowly did trade up to it. And what we did do is we did generate a bit of liquidity here, and this is where the bearish setup kind of makes a bit more sense. You have this hourly high which you've taken. You have the hourly high that's taken. Considering if you're bearish, you want these highs to stay here. Hourly high that was taken, and I was still looking at the session, but pretty much I turned off my screen a bit after this 1-minute inverse fair value gap setup confirmed. Once it came up into here, I was thinking this was probably the best area to look for a shot to target these relative equal lows down here. You took this hourly sell side, some sort of stop rate here, and price formed a really nice manipulation leg, followed by a inverse fair value gap setup. At this point here, you had a short entry for lower prices, and this was probably the best entry for any kind of short, which it wasn't the fastest short, but eventually it did work out. If we keep on watching for the next 15 15 to 30 minutes. But we'll tell is price around a bit after midday New York time took those lows, and that essentially that inverse fair value gap held the whole time. So yeah, was more bearish, but didn't really see any higher time frame bearish setups. Not until, of course, after 10:30. In this case, did you get the bearish setup. Until after 10:30, did you really get any good bearish setup? And then in terms of bullish, you had some good bullish setups. But when I kind of looked in this, I kind of wanted to see price take this low, this London low, before continuing higher. But as we can tell, pretty much these highs here were protected. Price had generated some liquidity for a short move by having a really good reversal in the 3 minute, even the 1 minute this confirmed as well. Price took the hourly high, and then the hourly high is where you did see that dump and price kind of sold off. So yeah, that was the recap for New York session on Friday. Thanks for watching.